Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. And if you want to support the show, it is $ American Doofus, all one word for the Cash App. And if you want to email me, it is Gmail, americandoofus@gmail.com. We're joined from Louisville, Kentucky tonight by Wolverine. Wolverine, thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Now you're with United Pharaohs Guard. Are you the commander of the guard?
No. We don't really have a commander or a leader.
Okay. All right.
We're very vocal about that.
And is this a Louisville-based movement?
Absolutely.
Louisville
Absolutely.
only.
Now we have people that come down from other states and help us and things like that, but primarily Louisville.
Right. And the is this the
Mujahideen?
Yes, I can never say it. Okay. All right. And before we get into what the purpose of the show, talk a little bit about what the United Pharaohs Guard has been doing.
Basically just supporting the protesters and protecting protesters
Around Louisville.
Primarily, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Yeah.
True liberty for everyone. People should be able to express how they feel and give their opinions without worried about being shot or ran over or whatever,
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. And that was not the case throughout the summer.
No, it was not.
And there were multiple altercations in Louisville.
Lots of them, yes.
And not just police, but citizens pulling guns on protesters.
We had people shooting at us.
And that was my next, and actually shooting at protesters and trying to run over protesters with cars. We talked about all those things here on the program. Been covering Louisville for a long time. And the reason you're on the program tonight is you've got a situation to talk about that it's not a secret, but it's not getting talked about enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost getting no positive publicity.
Okay. And has anybody, any Louisville news channel or anybody like that picked up on this story or?
No, well, anybody involved in this movement knows that most mainstream media just wants to spin the narrative of bullshit so they get their views up. That's right.
All right. Well, maybe by doing this, somebody will send it to the mainstream media and they'll take some cuts out of it and make a story out of it and bring it the attention it needs.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Okay. So what's the situation?
Okay. Well, two of our guys, which would be John Sableski, AKA the Boogeyman, and Adam Turner, AKA Profane, were both ran in on by the feds, the FBI, as well as 4 or 5 other people. But they were the only 2 that were really detained and held. And they're charging John with inciting a riot, and they're charging Adam with threatening a police officer, which he did not do. Neither one of them did it.
All right. Now I'm gonna play the listener role here.
Okay.
Boogeyman John and Profane Adam, correct? Yep. All right. And the feds busted into their houses?
Absolutely. Well, they busted into John's and several others. They kind of called Adam and said, "Come outside." Okay.
All right. Okay. But these weren't at events. These were after
sleeping hours,
middle of the night kind of thing.
5, 6 a.m.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
And really the crazy thing was they're accusing John of making a post on one of the social media sites. I think it was Twitter or one of them, saying basically like, "Damn, that's all it takes to storm the Capitol. I guess it's time to storm LMPD." And then Adam was
and that was considered threatening a police officer.
No, that was considered inciting a riot.
Inciting a riot. Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, there was no riot.
Yeah. If there would have been, we'd have covered it.
Matter of fact, we were on a march that night and we marched right past the police station. So, I mean, we didn't do anything. We just marched past it,
Right.
And then Adam was arrested on Christmas Day. And you can look up the video. It's he clearly didn't do anything wrong. He's just standing there holding his rifle. You can hear this officer screaming, "Get your finger off the trigger, get your finger off the trigger." His finger's not on the trigger. He said it repeatedly. And then another cop sneaks up behind him and tases him. So, you know what happens when you get tased, he locked up.
It's up. Yeah.
And he locked up and they basically started beating on him and ramming his face into the ground and saying he was resisting when he had no control over his functions,
Wow.
So they're both being held in federal jail right now in Oldham County.
Okay. If is bail an option, or are they being held?
No, they're being held
without bail.
So,
okay. Any idea when their trial is?
I know that one of them's going to court. They're both going to court this next month coming up, and they're but I think one of them's going to try to take it to trial, and then the other one is just like some kind of preliminary hearing or something. I don't know. There's not really a date set on him yet, but honestly, they're both over social media posts, and I don't understand that.
Right.
People talk shit on the internet all the time, and nobody does anything about it.
Exactly. There are sites all over Twitter that are all over YouTube that are just full of garbage about Trump is still president, and with hundreds of thousands of views. And
I know.
And how can that not? I mean, how can I know how YouTube does it? They do it because they make a bunch of money off of those channels.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
It's beyond me. And as well as I know, if they start coming after your right to say something, then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's like, I said on the live the other night, I get next to nothing off of the videos I do here, because all of them have limited advertising if they have any kind of black content in it. Yeah. And
it's pathetic.
Even last night we did an EAR episode with myself and two of the female board members, and we didn't talk about guns. We didn't talk about violence. We talked about how to end racism and identify prejudices in ourselves, and that got limited.
And honestly, I don't understand it. I mean, I've never been a prejudiced or a racist person or anything, so it's beyond me. To me, it's basic common human decency.
It's money, they know that not a lot of people watch my channel.
Right.
I mean, it's not 100,000 people watching every. I have had, thankfully, I've had a 500,000 views since I started this.
Nice.
Individual viewers, and that's over the course of the past 8-9 months, whatever it's been. And it's amazing. But
I've pretty much seen all your videos.
I'm sorry?
I said I've pretty much seen all your videos.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'll watch them all.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's, it's got to be the work of the people, because the dollar is power, and power is what's recognized in America, until we show them the power of the people.
Absolutely. And let's face it, Black folks haven't been given a fair shake in this country for centuries.
Oh no, since the start.
I mean,
yeah.
This country was built on lies and blood.
Yes, absolutely. Violence and colonizing in the name of settlers.
Absolutely.
These are settlers. Well, that's the white version of it.
Yeah.
So if you were one of the Native Americans that was getting settled upon, these people weren't looked at as settlers.
No. It was a bloodbath.
So the winner writes history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we learn that more and more as years go on.
Absolutely. And I've got an episode coming up tomorrow about it. This was something that was never taught in Indiana history classes that I'm
No
going
doubt.
to be talking about tomorrow. The lynchings in Indiana, and the fact that we almost had another lynching here in Indiana on July the 4th of 2020. It was only stopped because somebody happened to have a camera on a phone, and enough people yelling that it was getting recorded that
I think I saw that.
some sense came into, yeah. So, makes you wonder how much stuff goes on that isn't.
You don't know about?
Yeah. So, okay, people are going to ask, your mask, shut up bootlicker. What's your statement? What's that?
What do you want to know what a bootlicker is, or do you want to know what the mask means?
Well, I've got an idea what a bootlicker means but it means different things to different people.
Well, anyone who thinks that, law enforcement ought to be held to, they're allowed to do whatever they want, and they have, qualified immunity, and there's some kind of Superman or whatever, they're bootlickers.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
That's just a job, and they're just people.
Yeah. And it's, it's sad when a good one gets killed, just like it's sad when a good person gets killed. Yeah. In my opinion, the officer in Colorado, he didn't have a big history of, charges against him or accusations or, misconducts, or he seemed like a really good dude.
Probably one of the decent cops,
and he gets killed, and that's bad. And two things can be true at the same time. You can have good cops and be sad when one of them gets killed, and also recognize that there are a bunch of cops that don't seem to have a lot of humanity.
Well, when you have 10 bad cops and 90 good ones, if those 90 good ones don't tell on the 10 bad ones, or vice versa, you got 100 bad cops.
Yeah.
Potentially,
yeah. And you got the Black Lives Matter badge on.
Yeah.
Are you a member of Black Lives Matter, or you?
Nope, just a supporter.
There you go. Okay. All right. Just, because people are going to ask these things.
Yeah.
And
big supporter.
Okay. So what can we do? What can we do for John and Adam?
I don't know. I just kind of wanted to do this episode and kind of bring a little awareness to what's been going on, because I feel like, the government is overreaching. They're infringing upon our rights, and it's only going to get worse. And, all the Trump supporters can say whatever they want. All the white folks can say whatever they want. But when it really comes down to it, one day it's going to affect them too.
Right.
And all these bootlickers and blue line supporters are going to understand, but they won't understand until it comes to their door.
Yeah.
Then they'll get it, because one day a cop's going to violate your rights.
Yeah.
And when he does, then you'll understand.
Absolutely.
Those are just people with jobs, is all they are.
All right. And also people are going to ask, are John and Adam both white?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad that we got that out, because it shows that it's not just Black people that are going to be targeted.
Well, here's the thing.
Anybody that stands up and says, hey, it's not right. It's not right.
Well, the only thing the government and law enforcement hates more than Black folks is white folks who stand up for Black folks.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Trust me, buddy, I'm living it.
I'm hip. I am too. Yeah. But
and to me, like I said,
on the ground, I'm not living it like you're living it. You're on the ground, you see it, and you got to feel like you're a target.
I've already been to jail at least once over this. So,
okay.
But honestly, our parents didn't fight for it, and I don't want my kids to have to.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm guilty of that. I took it for granted. I was born in the late 50s. I grew up in the 60s and saw the horrific treatment. And in the 70s, I saw things starting to what I thought change. And I thought, cool, we're past it all, and forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I own it.
Well, if it, and that's what it takes, personal accountability. It, people who don't see it, if they live in white suburbia or there's not a lot of black folks where they live, they don't really get it.
Right.
They don't really get it. To them, it doesn't really exist.
Right.
Oh, whatever. That's not how things are, but it is.
It is
exactly how they are.
Yes, it is.
And people need to suck it up and admit, like I said, black folks have not been given a fair shake in this country since day one.
Right.
And it's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. Because
it's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's to the point now where there may not even be enough to give them,
Well, and honestly, black folks make up roughly 12 to 15% of the population. Mm-hmm. I think honestly, the way it ought to be and what it's going to take to really get some recognition and win is for all people to realize it.
Yes, it has to. It has to. Yeah.
And to me, it's just being a decent human. I mean,
exactly. Exactly.
Just being a decent human being.
Yeah, it's not about pigment of
skin. That guy shouldn't be treated differently because of the color of his skin.
Right. Absolutely. Total agreement. Okay, so we can't raise money to bail them out. Do they have attorneys?
Yeah, they both have federal public defenders who actually are pretty decent lawyers.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. Well, then we've drawn some attention to it, and hopefully, some media sources in Louisville, hint, hint.
Yeah.
If you're out there watching, hey, send this to media sources in Louisville, in Kentucky, and in the tri-state area, Kentucky, Louisville, Indiana, and
especially anybody who thinks they can help.
Yeah, absolutely, because you don't know when some media outlet's going to have a slow day and pick up this story, right, because it's about militia.
Yeah.
And while we talk, let's, while I bring up militia, where were you on Derby Day?
I was, now do you mean the day Derby was actually ran or the actual Derby day?
The day the Derby was ran, when the NFAC and
the Angry
Viking grew.
I was protecting Injustice Square.
You were doing protection in Injustice Square.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you were probably one of the people I seen. We watched live on the video.
Absolutely. When
everything started coming together, incredibly outnumbered, but you all got up there and stood in front of them, and I applaud you for that.
We basically run them off.
Yeah, Miss Rosie, Maxwell Mitchell said one of the most profound 3 minutes of video, and it wasn't his video. Somebody caught him talking to the Angry Viking directly, and basically saying, "Hey, these aren't the people you're looking for."
Right.
It was almost, it was almost a shoot. I can't think of the dude's name in Star Wars now. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
These are not the droids you're looking for. It's almost a Jedi mind trick, and you guys showed up with guns, and they started. I'm not gonna lie to you.
When we hit that square, when we walked around those dump truck barricades, they called us by name. They knew exactly who we were. And
are you they meaning the police, or they meaning the Viking group?
No, the Vikings.
The Vikings knew who you were.
They knew. As soon as we walked around the corner, they were like, "United Pharaohs Guard, we've been waiting on you." I said, "Well, we're here now.
Yeah.
You can leave." And they I'm not gonna lie, we all called our families and told them we loved them. Some of us made funeral arrangements. We wrote our mothers or our wives' numbers and names on our forearm and permanent marker. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, because you guys were outnumbered.
10, 20 to 1.
Absolutely. And you got the same firepower they got. So outnumbered means something.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, 2 days before that, the FBI came and warned us and told us that they know for a fact that they got hits on us and we probably shouldn't go. And I was like, well, he said, I know, we can't tell you not to go. I said, it's not really an option.
Wow.
I feel compelled to do this.
Yeah.
These are my people.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
It is.
I don't want to die, but I will.
Yeah. And that's how serious it is.
Oh, and people don't get it. People can say what they want about it, but this is a war.
Just a non-shooting war at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, But believe me, I've had my fair share of shots coming at me down there.
Do you think that we still have to be concerned about the QAnon right-wing militias, the Proud Boys, the 3%ers, the Oath Keepers?
Well, yeah, I do, because some of them are pretty large forces,
Mm-hmm.
We still run into a couple of them, randomly here or there riding past, especially over the summer and all that. I mean, they were everywhere. We'd catch them in pickup trucks sitting down the street,
Yeah.
and we basically just walk up and say something to them, They start being assholes, we'd run them off, If they were cordial and being cool, we'd just kind of sit there and act like, somebody you just met and basically talk to them until they leave,
Yeah. Yeah. De-escalate instead of
all
escalate.
yeah, well, I mean, you need to go.
Let's get information.
Yeah, you can, we write it. I got a notebook of license plate numbers and descriptions, and I mean, it's crazy.
But it's necessary, sadly.
Oh, it is. It is.
For your protection and for the protection of the protesters.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, let's face it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these white cops and people don't want to hear what a lot of the protesters are saying, but the protesters get a bad name. I'm not going to lie to you. They get a bad rap.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because 99% of the protests are peaceful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
And when it does get escalated, it's usually escalated by LMPD.
And we've shown that many times on here. And just less than a week ago out at the Vibe nightclub, where the police escalated.
Absolutely. I was there. I watched it all roll in.
And I mean, the protesters were on both sides of the road. They weren't blocking they weren't doing anything. And I mean, it looked like half of LMPD rolled in.
Oh, I watched them send the SRT and the SWAT team and everybody out on 10 protesters one time.
I know.
About 3 days before that Vibe incident. I swear.
Really?
Yeah. And I think we have a new police chief. And I think she's, trying to show out a little bit,
Yeah.
Trying to flex on us a little bit,
I have I've got a story coming up tomorrow or Saturday about an LMPD officer that is bringing charges.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. So
the black officer.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. We're going to be bringing that up either tomorrow or Saturday. So,
and again, pathetic, completely pathetic.
While I got you on here, what do you think about the charges against Grandmaster Jay?
Well, as a guy who was there,
yeah,
I didn't see him point a rifle, but I definitely saw him instruct his men to.
Really?
As a militiaman, we practice extreme gun safety. We constantly preach it to each other. Hey, you're flagging. If you're flagging, that means your barrel's pointed at somebody. And I watched him instruct his men because as soon as they walked up, we told them. They're Overwatch on the rooftops. And they looked up and 3 or 4 of them immediately knelt down, shouldered their rifles, and started pointing up there. And I was like, y'all are flagging. Y'all can get shot right now. And what they should have had was binoculars or, a spot scope or something to look up there. But they immediately shouldered their rifles and started scanning. I was like, not something I would have done.
Okay.
So I didn't see him personally do it.
Okay.
But I saw his guys do it.
Okay. All right.
And I even thought in my head at the time, that's kind of stupid. It's not very wise, because let's face it, you're a group of a couple thousand armed black men. They would love nothing more than to justifiably shoot you in the street. It's what they want. they do it all the time with people who don't have guns. So I try not to give them any reason if I can help it, you know.
Yeah.
This I started out as just a regular protester.
I was just, that's my wrap up. My last question was, so how did you become part of the Mujahideen?
Yes.
Instead of the Mujahideen, it's Lou for Louisville.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked up on the Lou. No, I mean, I started out as a protester, going down there because, you know, primarily more than half my friends are Black. I have 2 biracial children, and I have, you know, I've never been on the racist side of things, you know,
Yeah.
never. And I myself am not 100% white. So, you know, I felt compelled to go because I felt it was the right thing to do as a, you know, a person who passes for white.
Mhm.
You know, it's my job to stand up and be like, because, you know, it's kind of like when somebody stands up and says something, you know, for Black folks and it's a Black person, they discount that immediately. Oh, well, that's because you're Black too, you know. But if people of all races stand up and say, no, this is not right, they tend to listen a little more. So I started going down there, and then, you know, I got, for, I don't know, probably at least a couple months, I got pepper balled and tear gassed and, you know, shot with rubber bullets and shot with rock salt and anything you could name, they gave it to me except for shooting me. And then I guess it was the first NFAC appearance. I met a group of about 4 or 5 guys who were basically protecting the protesters. And I kind of ran around with them all day and kind of helped them do their thing. Never even caught any of them's names. And then one day, one of them reached out to me on Facebook and was like, hey, you know, you want to start rolling with us? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do. I don't know, it felt like the right thing to do, and it made me feel righteous as hell.
I can relate,
like
man.
I was doing the right thing, you know?
I can relate. I'm literally about to go broke. I've got like 6 weeks left. That's counting the stimulus check that I haven't got yet. You know, if I get that stimulus check, I can make it through May, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like, man, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I'm not getting paid for any of this.
Yeah.
I don't make $1, not nothing. Sometimes I might be down at the square and I might get a free meal. You know, somebody barbecued or somebody brought food or whatever, but I don't get paid for doing any of this.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie to you, it's exhausting as hell. It really is.
I'll bet. Okay.
It's a 7-day-a-week job, you know.
Yeah.
And it's but it needs to be done.
Yeah. Last thing, now that you mentioned it, and we covered how you got in, what's going to happen at the square?
Well, currently they're trying to push us out of there and push this big remodeling job that they planned 10 years ago and never did. But now all of a sudden, you know, there's a bunch of Black people in the square, so now they want to try to push them out, and that's going to be their scapegoat. That's what they're going to use to get us out. But it's not going to stop. It's not. In the great words of a lot of my protest friends, you can't stop this revolution.
Yeah, I've heard that chanted many times.
It's done gotten too far now. You can't stop it. It's a train. You can't stop it. You're not going to.
And let's reiterate before we close out, it's not just Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor is the focus, but because of Breonna Taylor, others have already given their lives.
Absolutely. Including a bunch of our people.
Yeah. David McAtee, Tyler Girth.
Yeah.
Travis Nagdy.
Yeah. Chris Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The Louisville police have been doing this to Black folks for decades.
And the square was where the slaves were brought and sold, and where the term "sold down the river" comes from, is from the Louisville slave trade, sending them down the Ohio to the Mississippi, down to the plantations.
Huh. You just taught me something.
Yeah.
I knew that was a big slave trade area, but I didn't know that's where that saying come from.
Yeah.
That's interesting to say the least.
Hey, again, John's last name.
Subleski, Subleski.
Okay. And Adam
Turner, Turner.
All right. Okay. And if you guys happen to somehow be watching, you got people out here thinking about you, and we're going to do what we can to shine some light on this, because people being in prison for Facebook posts, that's scary.
I mean, you know,
and it needs to be
a little bit ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Needs to be addressed.
You know, a couple hundred Trump supporters storm a government building and they're all sitting at home on HIP. But, you know, two of our guys talk shit on the internet, and now all of a sudden they're in a federal prison awaiting a trial, you know, for 3 to 5 years for nothing, you know. Speaking of, you know, shout out Profane, shout out Boogeyman, shout out Magnus, shout out Bree Wade and Justice Square. I love all y'all.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for reaching out to me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing awareness to the situation. I really do.
Thank you. It's an honor.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. And next time I come to Louisville, we'll get together and
absolutely.
We'll do a fist bump. Both of us wearing our masks.
Right. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Barry.
It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Do not be a doofus. Again, it's John Subleski and Adam Turner are the two names. And let's draw some attention. Let's draw some awareness to this. Please subscribe, like, share. Just copy the link and put it, send it off in emails to all the media you can think of, from CNN all the way down. Let's draw some attention to this. It's the American Doofus Show. I'll be back real soon with another episode. Until then, may God bless each and every one of you, and may he have mercy on the United States of America. I love you all.